Okay, welcome to Canva for Beginners. I'm Alicia and this is Michael. We are really excited to be presenting today. I wanted to do this training for a while because I get so many questions about how do I use Canva? What can I use it for? What should I not do? So we just wanted to go into that. Just real quick, because a lot of the people that are on, just in case you didn't get my email yesterday, there is a scam right now with Facebook that's making it they send you notification making it look like you have page stability issues and it's a scam and they'll try to just don't click on those links. So just spread that around for other people to know. If there really is an issue with your page, Meta will send you an email, not just an inbox message and not just a notification on your page. I just wanted to make sure that was out there. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started because I like to keep these somewhat short. Is that going to be enough for you there, Michael?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to share I'm going to share the screen so you can see what Michael's doing, but then I'm going to let him get started in what he wants to talk about. So there you go.
Morning, everybody. So Alicia specifically asked me to go over just some basic usages of Canva in regards to branding. So I'll kind of discuss how we handle branding Canva and also discuss how we can set up some things for print and using our brand templates and our brand colors and fonts and the like. So I'm somewhat new to Canva too. Started using it about a year ago, and after about a year, I can say it's pretty easy and straightforward to use. But there's a lot going on too. So when you're first starting out, it can be a little confusing, but don't be too intimidated. It's pretty user friendly program. Anyways, I'll go over here to brand. We click on brand. I got a brand kit and brand templates tab. So click on brand kit and start scrolling down. We can look at, say, the extension, university extension logo and brand. As you can see, we got, is this scrolling? Oh, there we go. Okay. This little mouse is a little different than mine. So we got a bunch of logos here set up with university colors and also white versions. And then we got the 4-H clover, and they're all PNGs. PNG file, that means it has a transparent background, or it can. So it's really good for logos when it comes to using them on, especially on web. They're okay for print too. So maybe I'll get, okay, down here we got all our 4-H color palette. These are hex numbers. That's kind of so you can keep colors consistent. You can copy and paste those colors and share them with designers or other people to keep colors consistent. So that's always important. We try to stick with our brand colors and try not to deviate and use too many other crazy colors. Go out to maybe some other example here. So here we have our Hunger Solutions Institute logo, the word mark, an associated icon, brand colors, and then we got a couple fonts that we have chosen to keep consistent with the brand. So we got this branding grotesque font for the headings, subheadings, Lotto for the body and for the body copy.
How is it Lato?
Lotto.
What do you call it?
Yeah, I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, honestly.
That one font.
Yeah. Really good example that's not quite like a university department. Let's see. I think I should discuss how under university guidelines for branding, when we create a brand, we don't create logos or graphic logos for brands any longer. We are only to create word marks. Like here's a good example, Create Better Health. These are various sub-brands of Create Better Health, but they're, as you see, they're all word marks. There's no graphic icon or like a specific graphic logo. We can create, see where the little icons go. We can create, here they are, icons, and just to represent the brand, but they're not official logos and they can't be placed like directly close to the word mark. They have to be situated away from the word mark. So this is set up just to keep other programs that are associated with the university from competing with the overarching university brand. Up here, you can see we got the selected color palette for Create Better Health. And so we try to use these colors across materials. I mean, you don't have to be like super strict with using just these colors, but try to use them whenever possible for like the main design themes for things. So you can see we got the brand's different fonts here. These are fonts that, of course, Canva carries. When I'm putting together a brand, I try to pick fonts too that are on Canva and also like common in other software programs like the Adobe Creative Suite. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time, I guess, on nitty-gritty of brand logos and stuff. So let's go over to brand templates. So this is probably one of the most useful aspects of Canva. And so I'll introduce how we use these templates really quick. It's really useful because the designers here, myself and Alicia included, and Michael, we can put together a simple template, and then we can share it with anybody and all other members that are on Canva or with extension. And then other people can go in and they can add their information, whatever content they would like. So here's a flyer, for example. So we'll click on use this template. And as you can see, well, should I make this bigger? Let's see.
Bingo.
No, thanks. So as you can see, we got some placeholder copy. And you can just click on it, double click, select text, and you can edit as is. And it looks like on this page, most things are editable. Some of these templates we set up so that just maybe the copy is editable. And like when I click on this graphic shape right here, you go up, you can see this lock feature. And this will lock position. This will unlock it. And that'll prevent other people from being able to edit it, which can be nice to keep things consistent. And then usually we'll keep the copy boxes unlocked. Let's see, what else should I talk about? Oh yeah, I should discuss how we can go about printing these. So it's a little confusing in Canva. They're being a little tricky right here. If you want to print a flyer or whatever, it says print flyers. That will take you to a vendor, the Canva vendor, which could be convenient if you just want to order a print to them. But if you want to print to your desktop or share it with other people, different file formats, click share. So right here, you can see you can add other people to share this template, and you can set your sharing settings here to the whole all of university, or just people that have the link, or you know, they can just lock it if you want to keep it safe from other people messing around with it. So that's just how you share it. But if you want to print it, you actually have to go down to download, and you have a few different file types that you can choose. A PNG is okay for just general desktop printing. It's also good for sharing your graphic via email or posting online. Same with JPEG. Like I said before, PNGs have transparent backgrounds that are great for logos and other things like that. But if you want to print it on your desktop or save it on your desktop to send to AggiePrint or whatever, click PDF print. And you want to go down to the color profile, and you want to choose CMYK, which stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, black. You can even see the printer, if you're wondering. So if you've got a design where you want it to look really professional, you're not printing it on your desktop, and you're send it to AggiePrint, and you're going to have things trimmed around the border of your design, or in this case, the flyer, then you want to select crop marks and bleed. Flattening the PDF, that will just turn it into an image in case your graphic, your flyer is a really large file. Generally, you want to avoid that for high quality printing. You don't need to do that. Unless, like I said, it's really a large file. So yeah, then you just click download. And let's see. I'll kind of show you how that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Chrome downloads are now at the top. Have you noticed that?
Oh no.
It's driving me crazy.
Yeah, that's gonna throw me off. So as you can see right here, there's crop marks. And there wasn't a bleed that was dragged out across this whole image. So as you can see, it's just cropping right on the border, which is not a true bleed. But down here, you can see this image comes across into the bleed. So this one was dragged out. So when they trim it, you'll have a nice clean cut there, no gap or white space. So that's the idea between the crop marks and the bleed. And I can now, on that note, I'll show you how to preview your bleed area.
We had a question. Somebody wanted to know why CMYK is better than RGB.
Oh, okay. So CMYK, like I said, stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, black, which are standard 4-color process printing inks. So that's specifically a color profile for printing. RGB stands for red, green, blue, and that's a screen gamut, or screen profile for computer screens and digital devices. So when you want to save something for screens, then you save it with an RGB setting. Save it for print, you save it with CMYK setting. Nowadays, honestly, if you forget to do that, it's not a huge deal. Like there's really good translation of color profiles, and usually you won't notice a difference. But it's better to be safe than sorry, really, especially if you're printing. That will help printers keep things just from getting too out of whack. Every now and then, like you'll notice if you export something as that was designed with a CMYK profile, and you export it as an RGB, and you'll pull it up and you're like, oh, the color looks weird, and then you're like, okay, I don't want to print this Aggie blue that's supposed to be navy if it looks like all like bright or something. So hopefully that wasn't too involved explanation. Okay, I'll try to get out of this PDF. How would I? The window's in the way.
You're gonna go back to Canva?
I just want to go back to Canva. There we are. Okay. Back to Canva. What is this going on here? Okay, there we go. So I'll show you how you can preview the bleeds. You go to File, View Settings, just show margins, show print bleed.
You want to explain what bleed is?
Yeah, I'll explain what bleed is. It's probably a good idea. Margins, if you want, it's not a big deal. So as you can see now, there's a extra border coming off the side of the design. And that is beyond the 8.5 by 11 space. So to ensure that we have a nice clean print that goes from edge to edge, when we send it to the printers, then if they have a bleed, they can trim it to the bleed, and you'll have that really clean edge to edge print, and without like a white cap.
But a printer in like an office can't necessarily do that, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. So this is just for professional printers. It's usually not worth the hassle to do it on a desktop, though you definitely can. But it usually takes a little bit more fooling around with. For instance, like you would have to print 8.5 by 11 on 11 by 17.
Oh yeah, that's not.
And then you have to go and trim each one by hand. So that's not a lot of fun. It's better. It's worth paying somebody for that to do that. I mean, okay. Anyways, as you can see, I drug this top shape, so it expands out further past 8.5 by 11 area, and we got this box that shows the bleed line. So now you know that when I add the crop marks, it should just add right here and have that shape going beyond that. So when they trim it, it'll be nice and clean. So we can go back to share. Oh yeah. Download. PDF print. Crop marks. CMYK, best for professional printing, as it says. What does it say for? Yeah, RGB, best for digital use. Then we'll hit download. All right. Now, as you can see, here's the crop marks for the bleed. And this bleed does extend out past the 8.5 by 11 area. So they'll trim it right on those marks. So hopefully that's pretty easy. Oh, I didn't confuse people too much. Okay, back to Canva, and maybe I'll just discuss a few other design principles.
Yeah, maybe just a couple of them.
Okay.
Like the bigger ones.
So like I said, Canva is pretty easy for user friendly. So I'm trying to say. So I encourage people just to get in there and just play around with things. You know, if you can't really mess anything up, if you make a bad design, then whatever, you can just delete it. So I'll just discuss using fonts and kind of logo placement really quick.
Can you differentiate between a logo and a word mark again? Because those are kind of used interchangeably sometimes and they're not the same.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the official logo of USU. That is a logo, not a word mark, not an icon. As you can see, it's placed up here in the corner. But it's not too close to the corner. You want to give some good breathing room around all logos. And it's better not to make it too huge, but you don't want to make it too small. If you go to the university branding guidelines webpage, whether it's the extension or USCU's official brand page, they have like specific like diagrams and guidelines that spell out exactly how much space you can use around logos. But in the interest of time, we'll save that for another day. So here's a word mark for this department. Down in the corner. And as you can see, there's a good amount of space kept away from the edges. And generally in design, like, you want to avoid putting things too close to the edge. Give things, less is more a lot of times. You don't need to make things too big or busy. Including logos. People get really psyched on their logos and they're proud of them, as they should be, but you don't need to shout at people. Once again, less is more. You're just going to look classier if your logo is a little on the smaller side, rather like taking up the whole as much space as possible, or if it's on the edges. Don't be afraid to move things in, give things a lot of space. Like I said, with these brand the brand kits that we set up, we usually choose a couple fonts, maybe 3. So that's to keep things consistent, and that also helps in keeping designs from getting too busy. When you're making a design, try to just select a couple fonts and stick to those, and maybe one that's like a decorative font if you need that. As you can see, there's really just a couple fonts that are used for the headings. Here we got Lotto. This is Roboto condensed, and then Lotto for the body copy. And everybody wants to make a really fun, fantastic design, but once again, less is more. The idea here is to communicate effectively and clearly. You don't want to busy your design up with too much copy or too crazy of fonts. Sometimes people want to look all cute and stuff, and they'll use Comic Sans, but it's not appropriate for like something professional. So keep that in mind too, what's appropriate for your brand and your audience. Let's see. I don't know. Other than that, is there anything you can think of that
was great?
You mean go over for now? Hopefully I didn't blab on too much.
No, that's great. You good?
I think so.
Okay. So I'm gonna go over some basics real quick of making a design in Canva. I'm gonna just see. Okay, so I think I understand this question. So there's word mark, logo, and type treatment. And a word mark is associated with kind of a sub brand. It doesn't have an icon. And when we say icon, we mean like a little image that's next to it. So like USU can have it because that's like their logo, right? But if I were to do like a 4-H club, I couldn't put like Cache County Horse Club with a horse next to it with the 4-H clover emblem, because that's considered a logo. We can't have other logos outside of USU. And then there's type treatment, which is like Create Better Health, where they have all those colors and fonts that can be used in a design or in like the word mark. So it's the best rule of thumb is to just stick to what's already been created by the professional designers, and not try to create your own, because that's when you can get in the weeds, and we don't want to do that. So I hope that answered your question with that one. And then we had another question about paid account or free. And the one we're demoing today is an enterprise paid account that's through like an umbrella account. But I have done a lot of stuff with free that is possible, but I love the paid version. So I've been using Canva. I think I decided, let's see, like 8 or 9 years. I discovered as an undergrad for a project, and then I love it. Anyway, so the stuff we're demoing today is the paid version, but you are able to do a lot of the same stuff on the free version. And if you're interested in coming to our team, the paid version, I can get you information about that later. Okay, so I'm going to come back to Canva. I'm going to close this thing out, whatever that's happening. So I make all of my stuff, and I shouldn't say all, 90% of what I'd make as a social media manager, I do in Canva. So you can see all of the type of things that I've done in this software and had great success with it. There are a few things that I don't recommend it for. If you want a very lengthy document with tons of text and text treatment and lots of images, like submit a project request for something that's a little bit more in depth. The other thing that I wouldn't use Canva for is like a very complicated like graphic. It does a pretty good job with the tools it has, but if I want to like change the color of a certain thing to like, I would just I would get a different program to use. So Michael kind of touched on this, but we want to keep designs very simple when we're posting on social media. So I wanted to walk through how I would design like an event graphic for, let's say I have a 4-H awards night coming up. I've been working to add some templates to our brand that are for popular events, things you might need. And to access that, I'll go back. So here I am on my homepage. If I go to the left, you can see there's brand and then brand templates like Michael showed us. And then you can sort these based on like if it's an Instagram post, what folder it's in, those kind of things. So I think you have to be in our enterprise account to access our brand kits, but I will check. We can also share them in other ways. Like I know that Create Better Health has them on their website. I'll have to look into that. But let's say I want to make one of these. So I click on it. And the nice thing is, and he was showing us, if we use this template, it doesn't edit the template itself. You make a whole new design. So you don't have to go worry about messing up other people's designs. So in this Instagram post, when I'm making an event graphic, I keep it as simple as possible for social media. I put the title of the event, the time of the event, like when it's happening, a few small detail, like we're talking 2 sentences of what people need to know, and then maybe where it's located. So if you see on these designs, it's very simple. And I think it's important to keep that in mind because on social media, you can add more information in your caption. Longer captions are doing well right now on social media, just in what I've seen. So it's okay to put, your come one, come all to this awards night, bring your parents, but this right here would be great on social because it says what it is and a quick date. That's what most people want when they're scrolling through social media. Now, if you want to take this flyer or this graphic and turn it into a flyer, I'll go through that too. So then I would just fill this in like he was talking about with my information. You can change the font up here to all these that are in Canva. But again, we like to stick with kind of what's in the brand kit or like 1 or 2 that kind of represents like what you want or kind of like if you're going to use a decorative font, try to stick with that same decorative font the whole time. You can change the font, the text color up here as well. So you could change it to yellow or green. If you want to change it, I'm going to go back to black. Some fonts can be bold, some can't, just depending on the Canva file, I guess. They are working on, it's nice because they're working on making it on the left here. You can see they make it easy to change to a different, what's the word?
Style.
Yeah, the different style of font. So you can have regular or bold right underneath it. That's new. So that's templates. Some other helpful hacks is what I'm going to call them because a lot of Canva usage is just getting in and trying it on your own. I'll just go down and start a new thing here. To add text, you can just hit T on your keyboard and it adds a text box. To add a square, you can hit R, I don't think S works anymore. Nope, it used to be, but you hit R and that adds a rectangle. Now, if I wanted this, so this is something that I see a lot of people doing in designs, and it's a very simple thing to do. But if you want to make your rectangle or square more of a border for something, you go up to the top where it says border style up here. And that's where you change it to have like a thin border around the edge. You could change it to be dashed, all these things. And then you'll come to the color of the shape itself. This symbol that you see with like the gray kind of grid means transparent. So it basically makes it transparent. And now you have a thin box that you can, put around things. Another hack when in Canva is the positioning settings, I guess, tab. So if I wanted this to be centered, it will put it middle of the page, center of the page, left of the page. Having it, if I did have this a color, I could put it behind my text, in front of my text. That's what this arrange does. You could align elements. So if I wanted these two things to be aligned, you notice it changed from align to page to align elements, and that will move it to the left, right, center. So it just takes those things that you're selecting. You can group things, which is nice if you want to move them as one single unit around. And then as like he said, you can also lock them. I love the lock feature if I'm trying to edit a bunch of stuff, but I want one thing to stay. So I lock it so it just stays on the page and I can't move it anywhere else in my design. Let's go back to our awards night. We're so excited for this. I don't know where 111 Maple Street is. I don't even think that exists in Cache County, but it's okay. So if I wanted to then take my social media graphic and turn it into a flyer, on the paid version, you have the option to resize. And they have these really handy, already sized out documents for you. So you could turn it into a flyer, landscape or portrait, and I'm just going to turn it into a portrait. You can, if you copy and resize, it'll keep your original design. If you resize, it'll take the design and resize it. So you don't have two versions, you still just have one. I always copy and resize. And then I will go in when I've made that and I will change the name of it up at the top to awards night, like flyer size, so I know what size it is automatically. Then if I'm making a flyer here, I can put more information on it because typically flyers are going to be printed like he showed us how to do. They're going to be distributed without context, whereas like a social media post, people will have that context. They know it's coming from Cache County 4-H, so they don't need all the information. But in a flyer, I might put more details here. So I would probably, get a different border by either, see, this is just a square. So I would turn that into that rectangle I was showing you. Maybe put more information here, maybe put a picture or something. Just something to keep it simple. Now, you don't have to do all of this from the top of your head. That's what makes the design templates in Canva so awesome, is that there are so many to choose from. When I pick a new template to work on, the first thing I always do is change the colors and the fonts to match up with my brand a little bit better, and then the pictures, obviously. And I think that's why Canva is so great, is because you can use things that are already designed, that are simple, for an awards night that you don't need like a full document on. So, I wonder why. So going from Instagram to the flyer, it just kept everything at the same size. It didn't resize it. I hope that answers your question. Like it stayed in a square, basically. Like if I were to take this square, you'd be able to see that it doesn't stretch to the border, right? So I would want this square border to actually be more of a rectangle. So you're not wrong. Mine didn't do it either. That's why resizing is sometimes a little tricky, because you design it for, a portrait file and then you resize it to a square file and your elements get all mixed up. So Awesome. I wanted to show one more thing about Canva that I love, and that's being able to add your own pictures. So over here on uploads, you can see that I have files that I've used in designs, cute headshots of Kathy and Jenna. And when I upload my files though, because you're going to be probably putting a lot of pictures in here from events or things like that, I always name them. So it's easier to find later. Because let's say I'm making a design with the headshot from a faculty member and I don't know where the headshot went in my folder, I always can search for it later. I know that some people are super organized and they really use the folder option in Canva. I'm not organized, I'll admit it, when it comes to my files on Canva. That's why I name everything. But you can do that. So when you go back into like your uploads, there's like folders to be had. So you can like go to projects and folders and you'll have your images right there to use. So, you know, when I was doing marriage celebration stuff, Naomi made this folder and she just added some things that we could use in our design. So I could go back to that. Okay, that is kind of the basics of Canva, how to use a document. The best thing I can say is to just go in and practice and try it out yourself. I don't think there's any other way to like find what works for you, because I think like any skill we learn in extension, practice makes perfect, right? So yes, I totally can. So I'm going to go that I was just going to say, I'm going to open it up for some questions and explain how to do this. So I am going to take a template from the menu and I'll replace the content. So we're going to go back to our templates, our brand templates. Okay. What should we make? Let's make, I don't know. Let's go. I don't know. What do you guys want to make? I make a lot of social graphics. So I'm going to find an Instagram story. Perfect. So this is one of the Instagram story templates in our brand. Let's do this social media one. Michael did a great job at making a bunch of templates a while back. So we're going to use this template and I'm going to make an Instagram story quote. So this is an Instagram story shape. It's in the colors, it's in the fonts, it's really simple. I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, what's a quote that I've been saying a lot lately? I don't know. The first thing that came to my mind is Miss Rachel, because that's all my daughter watches right now. So anyway, okay, but we'll just say like, building relationships is important because it helps foster trust. I have no idea. That is the most fluffiest quote. Then you can just type in the text box where it is. And I'm going to cite myself as this. Then I will rename it. I will say relationships quote Insta story. So I have the size, I have what it is. So when I go back through my designs later, I have it. So just like to print, you're going to share it and then you're going to download it as a PNG for social media is just fine. And then you just go through the same process. I'm going to do one more, maybe a little bit more complicated one. We have, I know, recipe templates in our brand. Let's see. Let's just go with all categories. So if I'll do that again. So I was here and I went to folder, and this is going to search my folder, the template set up for extension and cast. And I'm just going to type recipe because I want a blank recipe card. So if we're here with create better health, I don't know why it didn't show up. Let's find a different one then. Let's go with presentations are used a lot. So if I had a presentation, again, I'm just going to use this template. I'm going to go through and I'm going to edit everything here. And the nice thing about the templates that we've set up is that it's just pretty self-explanatory, like what's the name, what's the date, all this stuff. So we'd say like how to use Canva 101. Now you notice my text is going over where I don't want it to be. This kind of hot dog shape changes the size of my text box, but doesn't change my font size. The corner ones change the font size, but not like the dimensions of my text box. So I'd go through and put all the information in there. And then you could, for a slideshow, if you wanted something to look the same, you can always duplicate a page. So if you're making like a multi-page document or you're making a slideshow that you want to apply the same kind of look to, you just duplicate the page and it copies everything back to the next document, which is nice for things like these little design elements or something like that. So that's how I would do it with a PowerPoint. We'll do one more. I don't know. What should we make? Let's make. I have so many things I like to make. Fun fact, when I was a kid, I used to get in trouble for using PowerPoint design on my mom's computer, and she'd get so mad at me because I would sit there and make all these designs. She'd be like, Alicia, stop messing around on my computer. So I was the reason my parents' computer had a password because yeah. Okay, let's do this one. And I'll tell you, we're not going to use it as a produce and safety one, even though it's awesome. I want to show you how you can replace your own images here. So if I upload an image, and let's say we're doing like buildings on campus you should know about, right? You can just click your image and that'll add it right to the document, which is fine. But if you want this greenhouse picture right where the tractor is, you click and drag it into it. Then when you double click, it selects the picture kind of like transparent around the actual photo. And as you move it up and down, you see like the darker parts. That's where your photo will be displayed on your design. So I want to see the door, and then you can see it there. So if you click and drag it, that one's pretty good actually. Or let's see, I had an old, this is like a library one. Double click, see the whole image, drag it to where you want to see it on your design. So then for this post, we're talking about buildings on campus. Oh, so this is actually an image that we uploaded. So I'm just going to delete that. And in Canva, if you want to get rid of something, you can delete it or drag it off the page and then it's gone, which is kind of obnoxious because in Illustrator and InDesign, they stay there so I can grab them later. So if you want to be able to grab this image later, I create like a new page where I just will drag it, click and drag it down. So it lives there in kind of my own little, I don't even want to call it. Yeah, toolbox. Yeah. So that way I don't have to find it again later. So if I know I need this logo or this image or this icon later, I just put it on a different page. Then I can click my favorite keyboard shortcut, which is T. I hit T and there's a paragraph text. I think everybody knows this universal symbol for move an object and rotate it. There are some fun effects that you can play around with in Canva where you can add a shadow. You can kind of lift it off the page. It gives it some oomph. You can do a glit. I've never done this one. There's neon to make it kind of glow, which is fun. Keep it professional though. Like we're still a university. I think some 4-H things can get away with a little bit more fun things. Like I keep thinking of like a laser class for STEM. That would be fun. You can also add curve to the text. So So when curve came out for Canva, it was considered one of these styles, and you could only either have it shadow or curved. Like you couldn't have it both. And now they let you do both, which is so great. So you can curve it, let's say you want more of like an arch like that. You can also add a background, which is great if you have if you want to add a background without adding like a rectangle, right? You just need it to be around your text. You can make it square or round. You can have it go really far out or be really close. And then how transparent is it? That kind of thing. So one thing that I like to do when I'm trying to learn new things about Canva is they have really great webinars that you can watch for Canva itself. And then they have also just awesome library of trainings if you want to learn how to do other things. So with that said, is there anything else that you guys wanted to learn about Canva, questions on while we were here, that would help you in using this awesome tool in your marketing? Okay, I will show you how to access Canva webinars and trainings. So we're here on Canva, like our main page, and it's just under education. Oh, sorry. Nope. Learn. Wow. And there's all of these tutorials, courses. There's inspiration. So sometimes if I have a new project on my to-do list and I'm like, I don't know how to do this, I need inspiration, that's a great place to go and see what trends are happening. The nice thing about design is that there's things that are consistent, and then there's ways you can still be like fresh and modern looking without, right? So if you have a brand kit or brand template for your department, can you use any or all of what's in there, or colors, fonts unique to departments, programs? So I think that for the most part, you stick to the brand template with your college and department. That way it stays as consistent as possible. So if I'm designing something for Aggie Chocolate Factory, they have one that has like their brown and their blues and those they have a little bit more of like a decorative font that I don't use anywhere else. If your department doesn't have one, you can always use the general cast, like overarching brand kit that's in there. That's a very safe bet to just use what's already available to you. That's what I would do to make sure that I stayed on brand. Yeah, you're welcome. When do you use Canva versus Adobe? So as a social media manager, I use Canva, like I said, 99% of the time. If I have something specific, like I don't love Canva's icons and their ability to so if I go, I'll show you this. Rachel, I will have to find out for you. I wish I had that answer, but we can figure that out together. So in Canva, there's all these elements, right? There's like this really cute papaya, and then there's like these graphic kind of icon things. But some of them I can't change the colors of. So if I have a very specific brand like design I'm making, and I want let's say I really like these little marching band people. Oh, good. Or carolers. I think they're carolers. Oh, I locked it. That's why I wouldn't go. I can change the color of their uniform to be USU. Look at that. Sounds great. But some elements you can't change the colors of. So if it's a little bit more complicated of a project, I'll switch into InDesign. But I have found that Canva does a lot of what I need it to do. Canva doesn't type on a path, which means if I want like my text to go up and around this, like this, I can't do that in Canva. I have to like finagle it to be curved certain ways, and it just gets a little messy. I don't use Canva for long documents like guides or I use it for simple reports. I'll show you like a social media report that I used. Because that's just numbers and images, right? So this is a gardening campaign report. Super simple, right? But if you have a lengthy, with lots of data and graphs and information, I wouldn't use Canva for something like that. I also don't love Canva's video software. I would use either like iMovie or Premiere Pro for that. It's fine for quick trimming things, but if you're editing like longer videos or trying to add captions, I don't like Canva's video functions. They're getting there, but I think that Adobe still wins for that. I also don't like to use Canva to edit a photo. I'm going to use Lightroom or Photoshop for that. The way I look at Canva is kind of like a very user-friendly, simple graphic tool. If it's and they have awesome things in it, but if it's a little bit more of a complicated project, I would try to get a designer to help. So it does spell check and it does grammar check, but not perfectly. So I should say it doesn't do grammar, but it does spell check. So if I spelled, I don't even know. Do you know the word that if all of our lives depended on me spelling this word, we would all be dead. Oh my gosh, did I spell it right? I spelled it right. Or I can't spell restaurant to save my life. It's just that word that will always haunt me. This is going to keep me out of the second grade spelling bee. So if you can see here, it's not spelled right. That's not how you spell restaurant. There it goes. So you have to be in the text box for it to say that it's spelled wrong. And then I can spell it. So those are the two words that I would lose if that was what was helping me. So I think that's all the time that we have for questions. I usually like to keep these short and concise. I hope that helped you guys so you could understand. I'll go ahead and stop this. So you can understand how to use Canva in everything that you're doing, but also don't be afraid to reach out. We have awesome designers for our college and for extension that are happy to help answer questions or just to make your project if it's getting a little bit too much for you. Yeah, is there anything else you want to add?
I think you did a great job.
Awesome.
Oh, we were supposed to remember to tell people not to use too much red in their design.
Don't use too much red in your design. We are very proud. I'm a 5th generation Aggie. I bleed blue. So anyway, awesome. Well, I am going to go ahead and end the webinar. It will be recorded and uploaded to our marketing website. So you can view all the other trainings there. So thanks everybody and have a great week.